Hi everyone, you're watching Good for the Game TV. Welcome to this Super Rugby Week 5 Handicap Projection Show. The aim of the show, well, I'm going to be sharing my projected handicaps for next week's Super Rugby action. I do believe one of the bookmakers is out. I haven't checked it yet. We'll go onto their site and compare my handicaps to theirs, see if I can find any early value. The principle, of course, is if there's a big difference between myself and the bookmaker, it might, and as I might, indicate a value play. Of course, I have to give it a bit of consideration first because it may well be that I'm just totally out with my handicap, in which case there's no point throwing any money at it. We'll start off with a bit of review of last week as well. Be a pretty quick video all in all though. And before you do anything else, scroll down below the video. You can subscribe to the channel if not already done and hit the bell. You'll get notified of any of our videos, including, of course, our flagship Thursday night rugby betting show. And that's called The Handicap. It's live at 9 o'clock, and I have guests with me every Thursday night. Let's go, though, to Super Sports site. We'll have a quick look at the results. I just want to run you through from a betting angle on the weekend. The Hurricanes against the Highlanders. There was a bit of support here for the Highlanders on the plus, but you could still have got around plus 8.5 Highlanders before kickoff. The Hurricanes stealing this one in the last minute or with a penalty. So Highlanders backers collected on the cap, but Hurricanes managed to get the win. The Rebels against the Brumbies at the handicap show on Thursday night. We did think the Rebels -4.5 looked a bet. Well, it was in trouble all the way through. The Brumbies got well out in front, but the Rebels did claw back to win the game. But the 3-point margin wouldn't have been good enough if you were backing the Rebels on the handicap. The Crusaders against the Chiefs. The Oracle Rugby, he made this an absolute good thing. He was over the Crusaders. I think it was 15.5 or 14.5, if I recall. Well, they may not have fielded a full strength side, but they were absolutely too strong for a very disappointing Chiefs outfit. And they won that one, as you can see, comfortably by 29 points, easily beating the handicap. The Blues and the Sunwolves, well, what can we say? I was on the Blues again, and they let me down again. I needed a converted try at the end, and they would have won by 15 points to deliver the -14.5 point handicap. In the end, I'd have to say a pretty depressing victory or disappointing victory for the Blues against the Sunwolves. And Sunwolves backers collect once again on the handicap. And credit to you guys out there who have been following the Sunwolves on the handicap. I know there are a lot of you. Waratahs against the Reds. This game always sort of hovered around the handicap of 8.5, 9.5 points. In the end, though, it was Waratahs backers who collected. And the majority of punters that I knew got involved were on the Reds handicap. So probably a decent result, that one, for the bookmakers. The Lions against the Jaguares. I was fortunate to be a guest of this game with World Sports Betting. Had lovely seats to watch it right on the halfway line in one of the boxes. And the Lions really were up for this game. They ran into an early lead. But in the end, 3 late Jaguares tries meant that if you took the plus 9.5 Jaguares, you won it. If, unfortunately, you got on a bit late and you were on the plus, you had plus 7.5. That misconversion of the second last try where he did a quick, well, the aim of the quick conversion was to give them a chance to score another try, which worked. But he unfortunately kicked it under the post, and that would have cost you your handicap there. But for me personally, this was a game I was high on the Jaguares points. I needed them to score 24 or more, so pretty comfortable win there. As I had in the next game, I was on the Bulls to score 27 or more points against the Sharks. I also like the -4.5 handicap. The Bulls are having no problems in seeing off the Sharks. They raced to an early lead in one of the more dominant first half displays that I've seen. So the Bulls there are beating the handicap comfortably at home, putting themselves in pole position there at the moment in the South African Conference. Let's go have a look then at the Good for the Game forum, where I've started the topic Super Rugby Week 5, Six Nations Week 5, and I'm going to go through my handicaps with you now on the games, and we'll pop across to the GG Gaming Gone Mad side. I did see some outright prices very quickly as I looked. Never took any note of them because I didn't want to influence my caps, and let's see how far apart we are. Chiefs up against the Hurricanes. Well, I'm going plus 8.5 here. The Chiefs have been really disappointing. Hurricanes haven't quite been at their best either, maybe a little bit vulnerable up front. I think the bookies are going to cap this one in single figures, but I may well be proven wrong. The Brumbies up against the Waratahs. Well, the Brumbies had that one big win over the Chiefs, but other than that, they've been fairly disappointing, although they certainly gave the Rebels a run for their money on the weekend. I think the Brumbies, by virtue of home ground advantage, will start favours against the Waratahs. I'm going -2.5 Brumbies. The Stormers, they're at home now to the Jaguares. The Stormers could move within a point of the Bulls at the top of the South African Conference if they can win this game. They play against the Jaguares side that I've got to say was pretty disappointing against the Lions, although they came back strongly to get the plus 9.5 handicap. They were really outplayed for long periods, and the Stormers at home should have the beating of them. How will the bookies cap it, though? I may be a bit conservative on this one, but I'm going -6.5 Stormers. The Sunwolves up against the Reds. The Sunwolves return home after A pretty successful tour of New Zealand. They got their first win ever against the Chiefs, winning by 15 points there, and they beat the Handicap comfortably, or fairly comfortably, against the Blues last week. They now play a Red side that has promised much but delivered little. They're 3 losses from 3 matches this season. How the bookie's going to cap this one? Well, I still can't make the Sunwolves favourite for a game. Maybe a bit of a mental block there. I'm going Sunwolves plus 6.5, so I'm making the Red 6.5 point favourites, but very interested to see what the bookies come out with there. Highlanders against the Crusaders. Can anyone stop the Crusaders? It appears not. They're just looking unstoppable, but the Highlanders must be capable of giving them a run. Not too confident about this cap, but I'm going plus 7.5 Highlanders. I think it'll be within a few points. The Lions up against the Rebels. It's a final game of what is only a 6-match card this weekend. We've got the Lions at Ellis Park, at Emirates Park, and I'm going Lions minus 9.5 against the Rebels side that has had 3 wins in 3 starts, so he's unbeaten. But I do think they'll probably find the Lions are too much to handle in Johannesburg. Let's pop across then to the GG Gaming site, gggaming.bet, and find their Super Rugby matches. I trust their handicaps out. I did see some outright prices. And here we have the Chiefs against the Hurricanes, so we'll start off with that one. I'm just going to be bouncing around a little bit on their site here. And they got 7.5. Quickly got my notes written down here. I went 8.5, so we're very, very close on that one. I don't see any obvious value based on that. The Brumbies against the Waratahs. It looks like they're betting 9 to 10 the pair here. I must admit, I did consider making this a choice game, but I ended up making the Brumbies 2.5 point favourites. Not a lot to choose between myself there and GG Gaming. If anything, I guess I would be leaning towards the Brumbies at 9 to 10, but not a particularly big fan of them this season. We got Friday night rugby at last. Looking forward to this one. It's the Stormers against the Haggaris, and we'll have a look here. I went minus 6.5 Stormers. I see they've gone 8.5, so just 2 points between us there. I did think I might be a little bit shy on the Stormers side. Sunwolves against the Queensland Reds. Well, this is interesting because this we've definitely backed. We've definitely done differently. But I think this might be a case of my error, my underestimating the Sunwolves rather than GG Gaming making the error here. They got 9 to 10 the pair, and I went Sunwolves plus 6.5. I'm going to have to give that one a bit of thought. Do I think there's any value in taking a 9 to 10 about the Reds? The Reds, let's face it, they're just not a side you can trust. And perhaps the Sunwolves are full value for the fact that they've been priced as even with the Reds for this game. The Highlanders against the Crusaders. I went plus 7.5 Highlanders here. I've got a feeling I might be a point or two shy, perhaps even more. Let's have a look. No, interestingly enough, they've actually gone a point less. They've gone Highlanders plus 6.5. So very little difference between myself and GG Gaming on that one. I did think that a few of the bookies might make the Crusaders bigger favourites. And lastly, let's have a look at the Lions against the Rebels. I've gone minus 9.5 Rebels, and GG Gaming minus 8.5. So one of those weeks where certainly from the initial handicaps, it doesn't look like there's a tremendous amount of value for me to get involved because, so with GG Gaming are really, I think the biggest difference was on the Brumbies where I was minus 2.5 and they were choice. So nothing for me to get too excited about yet, but certainly watch the Good for the Game forum over the course of the week. Other bookmakers will come out, money will come, team news will come. There will be some value during the week. Otherwise, though, we'll see you on Thursday night for the Handicap show. That's at 9 o'clock live. If you haven't done it yet, subscribe to the channel just below this video.